they were to keep full creative control, and most brilliantly, their near toothless manager was to get a full new set of gnashers. That's a real thing. That's not like a colorful way to say they have money now.
Yeah.
Like they literally got their toothless manager new teeth. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my excited and happy co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's pretty much a new discography per episode. And today, we'll be discussing every album by
Jonathan FireEater.
This was requested on Patreon by Derek. Thank you, Derek, for being patient and supporting us and being our good buddy and giving us this band to talk about. Go to the Patreon if you want to suggest artists for us. It's cool stuff. Jonathan FireEater. Okay. Brand new for me.
Brand new for me too.
And brand new for the entire EAE team, including Tom, our history guy who left us some notes here.
I remember we got the request and we were like, what is this? And then I saw they had I believe like 3 of these members went on to go form the Walkmen, which was a very cool band in the early 2000s. So I was like, I can work with that.
How do you feel?
I don't like them.
Tom nailed it. On our notes, he wrote, I'm going to read what he wrote exactly. He said, I'm no authority, but based on previous episodes, I guess Alex does not like this band.
Yeah, he's correct.
I don't like him either.
Yeah. I'm glad I stumbled across a Vogue article, though, of all things. Because in the book Meet Me in the Bathroom, which is, about like all those like New York alternative bands, The Strokes,
all bands I'm not a fan of generally, honestly.
Interpol. Yeah. I guess Jonathan FireEater set the table for those bands.
You can tell. You can absolutely tell. And if you like those bands, that's awesome. Then I figured this would scratch that itch. I mean, it didn't for you.
I do like most of those bands.
Why don't you like this band?
This is like if you ever listened to the Strokes and you wondered like what the Strokes sounded like if all the members did heroin. I don't even know if anyone in the Strokes does heroin, but if
the Casablancas motherfucker has to listen to him talk.
Yeah. Or even the way he sings.
I guess so.
Yeah, this is like if everyone in the Strokes was on heroin.
This band, what kept coming to mind, I kept thinking of and kept feeling. This is simply what I felt. This is not a bad or good thing. Depending on who you are, it's a bad or good thing. For me, it's a bad thing because all I kept feeling was a fucking disgusting hybrid of the Strokes and the Velvet Underground. 2 bands I don't like.
Yes.
Check out a Velvet Underground episode if you want to shit on me. If for some reason you've heard of the Virgins. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
They're better than the Virgins. They're significantly better than the Virgins.
Yes, but just to like lump into that New York alternative crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a hodgepodge of sounds. It fluctuates between albums. I see Tom bring up John Spencer Blues
Explosion. Who
I've never listened to. So okay.
He brings up John Spencer. You could tell Tom put some of these notes, wrote these notes, like chronologically.
Yeah,
because first thing he writes is like, I wonder if that's a reference to John Spencer Blues Explosion. I wonder if these guys are associated. And then the more, at least according to Tom, they are heavily inspired by, they're heavily associated with, they worked with them. They had similar, like, I don't know if it was the guy who mastered the same records or the same mixer, I forget. There's a lot of overlap. And at least I could be wrong, but the way Tom made it seem is like, these guys aren't that original. And listening to it, I don't think they're original. I hear all their influences more than an individual band.
Yeah, for me, like, and we'll get into it, But yeah, I was always like, oh, I can hear this, I can hear that. And then at one point I thought maybe they were doing their own thing, and then I was like, your own thing, it stinks.
Their own thing does stink, but I'm shitting hard on this band, but there are moments that I like. There are legitimately good songs here. I think there's like actual good songs.
I thought you could go either way because the organ player, I guess it's more of a baseball organ than a carnival organ, but they're close.
The organ player, that's Walter Martin on organ and keyboards. Aside from the vocals done by Stewart Lupton, who's like the main guy of the band, who's also the main reason the band failed. We'll get more into that. Aside from his vocals, which I fucking hate his vocals, the organs broke my heart the most.
Really?
Because early on they set up this kind of interesting, you kind of don't know what he's going to do in every song kind of thing. And as it goes on, he just leans on the same fucking thing, and every song feels exactly the same. It's happy and poppy and garagey.
Yeah.
And so I was most let down. And also Paul Maroon, the guitar player, also plays a pedal steel, and you could barely tell. And that's another thing. Like, if you're going to bring a pedal steel into a band like this where you normally wouldn't have that, fucking show off, baby.
Yeah.
Let it be known. There's only like a couple moments where it's like, oh, that's a pedal steel doing something interesting that a pedal steel normally wouldn't do, because I guess you would associate it with country. But it's buried in this shitty production.
Yeah.
And the production is shitty across the board.
I am happy Paul, Martin, and Matt
Barrick, the drummer.
Yeah. Got their chops up and is significantly better in the Walkmen. So,
and because the only member I didn't mention is Tom Frank, the bass player, he is also there. Same lineup from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Although it's only this band only lived 5 years, so it's
very short lifespan.
Very short. But another thing that, so I as I always do with this pod, I always put all biases at the door. I want to hear, if I like the music, I'll fucking forgive any horrific deed, no matter how egregious or annoying it may seem to me. And I'm not being turned by the music. And the more I'm reading about the band, the more I'm hating the band.
Interesting.
Or at least like being just, another cliche. Oh, another singer who's hooked on heroin who drags cool. Another one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm just fucking tired of that story, for one.
I guess I feel like we've covered like so many drug addicts at this point where I'm just like,
I'm bored of it. I'm bored of the story. Not that the story is there to entertain me, but also the way these guys were hyped as like the next big thing. And listening to this song, like, fucking this in 95, this is what you were fucking losing your mind over. Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, but I don't like it that much.
Yeah, I guess, is a different time. And I'm sure, 95, everyone was trying to find that new sound, right?
They were trying to, find the next thing that no one thought would break. And then we're going to make it break. But I get that some of this stuff is legitimately catchy. I'm not going to take that away from it, but we've heard it a lot. This is just a slightly
I'll say
more modern version of it.
I'll say weirdos have heard it.
Velvet Underground was pretty popular at that point in time.
But like, there's also like Suicide influences
But they don't sound like Suicide. They do not sound like Suicide. And if those organs were more like Suicide organs, I'd be way more on board. Check out that episode.
Sure, that's a special kind of insane.
Yeah.
But I can hear it.
Fair enough.
Or even, even some Nick Cave, some Iggy Pop.
A lot of Iggy Pop, especially in the vocals. He's not like trying to do an Iggy impression, but you hear it. You hear exactly. That's the thing. Like, be influenced all you want. I don't give a fuck about that. But make original hooks, original melodies, make it feel like something else. Not too long ago, we talked about Ken Mode and how, the guitar player is insanely influenced by Dwayne Dennison and the Jesus Lizard. He's playing it just like him, but the band doesn't feel like a Jesus Lizard knockoff. This feels like a knockoff of a lot of bands, or of Iggy and Velvet Underground. And I don't know, I would forgive it if it was more hooky, but a lot of it kind of falls back on, all right, we're going to make this one happy and garagey. And then it's a whole album with that most of the time.
there are a lot of songs that start off, and I think maybe they're gonna do something different, and then they do not.
Yeah, but they are not the worst band we've covered. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I don't love them. I'm not gonna go back, but
I'm just bored. Yeah.
So all in all, we're gonna be covering 3 records, although one of them, the second EP, the reissue, the version you'll find streaming, compiles the very first debut EP as well as some bonus tracks. So we're going to be covering the debut EP in that section. But aside from that, 2 EPs, 2 albums. First album 95, and last album 1997. Very brief existence, and with some bumps along the way.
Yes.
So let's just start it out a little bit. Like I said earlier, our boy Tom Osman, a history guy who gets all this dirt for us, he compiled some stuff here. One is an interview with the Stool Pigeon that was reprinted by the Quietists. It's from 2007, and an article from 1998 by the Observer. And this is one of the reasons I dislike this band out of the gate. Not musically. This thing from their history. So these guys, they've known each other since elementary school. They played in a bunch of various, punk and ska groups or whatever. Yeah, this is what Paul Maroon says about their early days. He says, an earlier St. Albans era incarnation, the Ignobles, an early version of the band, regularly opened for acts like Lenny Kravitz and Fugazi, check out that episode, at local clubs in DC. We'd hear a new band and try to write a song that sounded like it. We'd go from band to band, haircut to haircut. I wore shorts on stage once. That was a low point. What a moron. So I already am fucking rubbed the wrong way. One, because they're literally trying to write music that sounds like other people and trying to fit in with a crowd. That's one. But also, there's nothing wrong with wearing shorts on stage if you feel like that's what you are. Wear fucking shorts, dude. Who cares? Quit trying to fucking fit in so much.
Yeah.
That bothers me, dude. Like, no, dude, wear whatever you want. That's punk. Wearing whatever the fuck you want. Be yourself. God damn it. I'm so angry.
He was young. He was a young warthog.
But this is him saying it older. This is him regretting that. That's why I feel this tinge of inauthenticity on it. That just kind of permeates. Sorry. It says it wasn't long before they convinced themselves to break the shackles of their bourgeois collegiate existence and jump into the Lower East Side's gritty bohemian rock scene or something like that.
Did they move in with Gira from Swans?
Michael Gira? I don't think he'd like them. Especially in 95. I think he'd be very hostile. Check out this episode. It's definitely a better band. Sorry. Can't keep comparing things to this band. So it says, a rechristened Jonathan FireEater by Stewart. They all relocated in 1994 to what would become their fame incubator. A small railroad apartment with a shower in the kitchen. It says they weren't able to drink legally yet, but they started hanging out at Max Fish on Ludlow Street. Stewart would wear his big white Pee Wee Herman shoes and polka dotted scarf, and the bartenders would pour them sodas as they networked with the John Spencer Blues Explosion, and Tom writes naturally. Things, as they say, picked up. Jonathan FireEater began to attract a sympathetic downtown cult. The New York Press pegged them to be huge. College Music Journal devoted entire futures column to them. Good eye. Nice prophetic abilities by the...
There must have this not been a lot happening. What? No, that's not true. It's New York. It's crazy.
Yeah. They just stink. Those publications stink. They don't know what the fuck they're talking. They never know what the fuck they're talking about. Nothing's changed. It's the same now as it was then.
It's true. Check out Rolling Stone's 250 guitar player.
Check out anything by Rolling Stone and you'll fucking vomit. God damn, worthless. Sorry. Oh, I'm fiery this episode.
You are. You came in spicy.
It's been so long since we've covered a band that wasn't good. Sorry, they're not bad. They're just not what we like.
I guess that's what the people came for.
I suppose some. Yeah. I don't know if Derek agrees. I'm sorry. I'm sure you like the band. I'm sorry. So they put out their first EP in 1995. It's self-titled, but it's also known as The Public Hanging of a Movie Star because it's the title of the opening track. and it's all their debut album is also self-titled, so it's kind of fucking stupid. But engineer, this is what Tom notes. He says engineer Greg Tallenfeld went on to work on a number of John Spencer Blues Explosion records, and it's already one of the overlaps, or maybe it's two at this point. But this piece on them says they put out their first self-titled EP, and an artist and repertoire scout from Geffen started circling. This was in 1995, near the end of the indie rock era, and the majors were still out trolling for the next ostensibly uncommercial band who could hit it big. It was around then, friends say, that Mr. Lupton began to experiment with heroin. Always a bit of a handful, this new development distressed his bandmates, and Mr. Lupton refused to comment on his drug use except to call the Lower East Side a narcotics supermarket.
Sounds about right.
Want to hear the saddest tale of a fucking dork? It says he often got ripped off by the local dealers who didn't take him seriously. One friend recalls the homeboys. What a fucking funny way to write that. We all know what they're talking about. One friend recalls the homeboys in the neighborhood taunting the sartorially rigorous Mr. Lupton by calling out, Elvis, Elvis, we thought you were dead. You want to be dead?
Holy shit.
Dude. I mean, it's imagining that dude with Pee Wee Herman shoes getting taunted by people in the hood.
And he has to go up and buy drugs from them because he's got a problem.
Oh, Christ almighty, man.
I will also add, thanks to that Vogue article, that Geffen deal is rumored to be worth $1 million.
Oh, well, the Geffen deal, which ended up being DreamWorks Records.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that when we get to the album. It was a bad choice. It was a poor choice on their part. I mean, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's shady record labels being fucking grimy, but it was a bad deal.
I wonder if they got $1 million though.
They didn't. Okay. Spoiler alert, they did not.
Okay.
But so that was like the first EP. We're going to be talking about the first EP because it's on the second EP, but right now we're going to jump into the first album. If you are ready.
I am ready.
This album is not streaming, so we had to go to YouTube. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but it's around. You could find it somewhere. So this is 1995's self-titled. The drums already tell you a lot. That's what the drums are doing. I mean, garage rock, straight garage rock.
It is the Sorius.
Maybe bump it one. There we go. It was the what?
Sorius sounding snare drum.
Yeah, this sounds pretty rough. And the vocals?
Fucking Randy Newman ass vocals.
I know. I'll cut this part picking up. Yeah, slobbery, slurry vocals that feel pretty.
And then, of course, the come-ons are very
Iggy Pop. Check it out on the Stooges.
I was picturing Will Sasso, Randy Newman.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. This is an interesting chorus. I don't mind this. Although the vocals are just an Iggy ripoff, and it's driving me fucking crazy. It's really grimy. It's really shitty, and I kind of like that. It's an interesting album.
Best personal favorite. And I don't really like this album, but I think, and I was worried when I first heard this, like, this isn't that bad, but I sure hope it gets better than this. This is the only one I was interested in.
Same. This is the only one that feels actually kind of unique. It's still rough. Like, at least like almost half the songs in here I don't like, but the stuff that lands feels pretty interesting. Like that was, a standard garage rock song, but at least it's like, in a way, unpredictable. That chorus is kind of strange where the bass and guitar drop out, and the tempo shifts and stuff, and it's sloppy and strange, but that's not too bad. And then the Spanish Flag comes on.
It's more spooky.
Yeah.
I like it a lot more than the opening track for sure. They have this like weird theme where it's like the Silver Surfer, the Spanish Fly, the Silver Screen.
Yeah, a lot of the titles are kind of thematic like that.
But at least on Silver Screen, I'm glad the drums get a little bit more lively, which is more than I can say for later albums.
Yeah, this is some busy drums. I like them. And they have these clangy, high pitched guitar chords. It's not bad. It's messy, but I think it's strong stuff. I like the song.
Yeah, it's noisier than the previous songs for sure.
And the Spanish Fly also, like you said, spooky. That's exactly it. Because I wouldn't call it dark. I wouldn't call it evil. I'd call it spooky, like haunted house organs.
Yeah,
these dubby bass lines. It's completely different vibe from like the songs that it's sandwiched between, but it's solid. Limes and Skulls is where I thought Velvet Underground.
I thought more Nick Cave on there. I thought maybe it would go like a noisy birthday party route, but it didn't.
No.
It's subdued until the end, and then it gets like a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's very loose. It's almost psychedelic in a very messy kind of way. There's something, I don't know, like it's interesting, but there's something boring about it. I can't put my finger on. It's something detached about it.
I would use that, what you just said, to just like summarize their whole career.
There's something boring about it. I just can't figure, like, why is it so boring? Because that song doesn't even have bad progressions. I don't mind the progressions, but it's something just feels really like, Jesus Christ, do something else. Do something with it. And I really, top to bottom, I can't stand the vocals. I don't find them interesting. On this album and like the next EP, he's pretty much doing a lot of Iggy Pop. And on the last album, it's just average like semi-singing. I would just call it semi-singing. I can't like strokesy, I guess, but it's more of an influence than anything else.
Yeah, which
influencing of the Strokes rather
would be fine if the music was interesting, but it's not. Romans and Barbarians, that's where I was like, that was the first time I thought about Velvet Underground.
Really? I actually like that song. It's pretty kooky, very odd. It's got a tinge of heaviness. Wouldn't call anything they do heavy, but a tinge.
He is really, really drunk sounding on Christmas and Halloween.
Oh boy. Yep. I don't like that song.
Yeah. I was like, this is like noise rock Randy Newman.
Very slurry, very slobbery, and plus that song, it's slobbery vocals over two major key chord changes with no rhythm section. I mean, how much more fucking generic can you get? I mean, that drives me crazy.
And yeah, it does get like oddly tropical.
Oh, yeah. There's some tropical shit, especially on the next EP. There's another one that's like really tropical. Tropical can be done well if you're wean or something. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan otherwise. Lemonade is about as generic as it gets.
That is the most blatant, like Stooges.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Not a fan. And so this thing it's like demo quality, and it's very rough, as you can tell from the opening track. And the bass is basically inaudible, except on The Oven, The Gas, The Dreams. It sounds amazing.
That's the best
song on the fucking album for me.
I think best song of their whole career, actually.
I wouldn't disagree. Yeah. I wouldn't fucking disagree with that. It's actually been stuck in my head all day. It's a good song. Shit. It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's catchy as hell. It's got solid drums too. And then the bass makes a huge difference. Big and fat, and it really holds everything together.
What happened here, guys?
Exactly. That was a fucking fluke, dude. And then it closes with To the Tigers, which stinks. It has moments. Like I like the section at the end. I think it's really cool. Around 3 minutes in, it changes mood. And that's when the pedal still comes in. And it's doing this really cool, ethereal, creepy stuff, but it's so buried in this bad production. It's really hard you got to really listen for it. But before that, like the way it opens up with these carnival organs, which I thought, I was like, hey, maybe we're going somewhere weird, somewhere interesting. And then it goes into the most uninteresting 4-note guitar riff with pounding drums and no bass. And it feels completely half written and unfinished. And the rest of it is kind of better, but a big chunk of the song is that.
Yeah, I think overall, it's just like a very young band, very like demo quality. Lots of bands have early recordings like this.
Yeah.
But a lot of them get better.
A lot of them, yeah.
They're kind of stagnant.
Yeah, they're stagnant, and they haven't really found their sound, quote unquote.
I can't even say that because then like the Walkmen turned into a cool band.
Maybe it was just fucking Stewart holding them back. I mean,
maybe.
I mean, he literally was, because the band crumbled because of him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like they eventually find like a little bit of a formula,
Mm-hmm.
and then they stick hard to that formula. Here, you could still tell they're jumping around a little bit. They're still heavily influenced by all these bands. You could hear it, but it feels a little bit more experimental in the sense that they're still, trying shit out, and it's more fun. The songs are more interesting. It feels like they're trying a little bit. There's
somehow more variety.
There's significantly more variety here. Significantly. And it's rough around the edges. It's still not super original. And there's a handful of stinkers. It's like one of the worst best albums ever. But it's like the good stuff lands pretty hard and it's genuinely fun. But I can also see why it would work for other people too. It could be a lot worse than this.
I also feel like, maybe fans of the band, this album isn't, exactly why you're here. Like Mike said, they find a formula on the next EP.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think they're more known for. But
yeah,
of all the albums not to be
streaming. Yeah. Jesus. But both of our best and personal favorites.
It's only downhill from here.
Oh boy. With great reluctance, we gave this our best. But it's time to move on. We need one of these episodes every once in a while to humble us, dude.
Yeah.
I fucking hate going and not liking a band. It's just I don't have a good time listening. I don't have a good time shitting on stuff, but we need them to keep us fucking realistic.
Yeah. I hate people who think like, oh yeah, like we record these to like crap on a band. No,
never. It's a bummer.
What number is this?
180.
We've covered 181 bands and then some. There's no way anyone on this earth could listen to 181 artists and like all of them.
Well, we listened to a lot more than this is episode 180, but we've listened to, including all the singles, you listened to a lot of bands.
And I just said artists because I don't even want to do the maths on the albums.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when we're listening to this much music, man, we're desperate to enjoy ourselves.
I dare anyone to listen to over or near 200 artists, some at random, and like all of them.
That's fucking nuts. Nuts.
No one can do that. No one can do that.
But it's time to move on to the EP that blew them up.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. So this also compiles the debut self-titled EP and some bonus tracks. So we're going to talk about all that. So this is 1996's Tremble Under Boom Lights.
Only appropriate that Third Man does a lot of cool releases, but
Third Man
Records would do the reissue.
Oh, they did the reissue.
Yeah.
This is a cool organ line. This got me real excited.
It's dancier.
Yeah.
He sounds less like Randy Newman.
He sure does. He sounds a lot more cocky, though.
Yes, he does.
But it's a style. I'm not gonna knock him for a style. And it's got big moody drums. The bass is buried, but it's very dubby if you listen underneath it.
On the very same day they took her away.
This is awesome.
These guys had to hold on, let me double check before I say this. Yeah, these guys had a crawl so LCD Sound System could run.
I've only heard one full song by that band, and I did love it. I was told by the person who sent it to me that don't get my hopes up though.
I like what I've heard from LCD Sound System, but I'm like also overwhelmed by them somehow.
So this song, that gave me a lot of hope. The way that organ and guitar interplay with each other, it's fucking fantastic.
And then I was just like, originally I was going to give this best because I was like, it's their own thing. But then I was just like, I just don't feel as like strongly about it.
I do. Worst least favorite.
Oh, shit.
I think this is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this was the one that blew them up until after I heard it. So I'm not fucking like coloring anything with like the hype behind it. I had no idea this is like the hype. This was the hype machine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's genuinely boring as fuck. That opener got my hopes up and then destroyed them with the following track, Make It Precious, which is the most generic garagey horse shit. It's fucking so bummed.
I don't know if it's like a rockabilly style guitar. I hate to keep throwing bands out, but like a Cramps style guitar.
Check that episode.
And then another band we've covered. It's like the Cramps style guitars, but then you have like this jazzy Doors like keyboards.
So Make It Precious, you brought up Nick Cave a couple times. That song to me sounds like a shitty Deanna. And that's not good. You don't want to have a shitty Deanna on your record. Sorry.
Well, you don't want shitty anything.
No. And then Tom notes here. He says something about the organ on Give Me Daughters is very birthday party, Mr. Clarinet. Check out the birthday party episode. I didn't think of Mr. Clarinet. Put that on just to see if
Daughters or Clarinet?
Give Me Daughters.
Okay.
I mean, we've heard Mr. Clarinet. It's a great song.
I will say before I throw this on, this is one of the most British sounding songs ever from an American band I've ever heard. Like, I don't know how they sound this British.
Oh, I see what he's saying. Yeah, they sound more fucked up and dirty than the organs on Mr. Clarinet for sure. I want to hear how it sounds British. It might take a while to start that.
We're only playing the cool noise stuff.
I know. I mean, this stuff is fun.
If ever this motorcycle
And now I hate it.
goes slip
Yeah.
in the mud,
This is British as
Yeah.
wanna have these
if your motorcycle.
down the blood.
Dude, there's something about that song that just pisses me off. It's so happy. Why are you so happy? So that's the kind of thing where I completely understand someone liking that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just happen to hate it. I hate that style. I hate that whole. I don't like that whole early 2000s indies in general. Like I've never liked that style. Something about it just itches me.
I'm gonna make you listen to the Strokes or the Hives one day. One of these episodes.
I'll listen to the First Strokes album. I will always I'll give that one. I'm not going to diss anything, but I refuse to acknowledge that they're any good after that. And then after that, we get The Beautician, which has more of that same dancey energy, but I think it's better.
It's the most like carnival sounding song yet.
I like it.
The final minute or so, I absolutely do think that is really cool. And I love, it's like surreal yet disturbing, which seems like they go hand in hand, but I don't really feel like we get that a lot.
Not all the time.
Yeah, and I just think the final minute of that song is really cool.
It's well done for what it is, but some of the layers sound fantastic. A lot of it, I believe, is the pedal steel, which I think is being used wonderfully and unusually. This is kind of what I was hoping for with the pedal steel stuff. I still don't like the style or presentation, but it's not a bad song at all. It's darker. It's got a significantly more interesting main riff than a lot of the songs. And then the original EP ends or closes with Winston Plum Undertaker. That's the tropical song.
Yeah, it's weird because it's also like quieter and more minimal than the other songs on here, but this kind of like goes out on a
whimper.
On a whimper, especially when we just had like that cool outro with the beautician.
Yeah, it's more an interesting happy bass lines with these happy organs. I really thought the organs are gonna be way more interesting on this EP. I mean, in general, I guess, but from this, because there's moments with the abrasiveness where you're like, oh, that's a crazy sounding keyboard. I wonder, and then they just eventually fall into that kind of shit. We're just, all right, we're gonna hold on these keys and have it as like a little texture in the background, just to make it feel happy. Oh man, that's just a waste. It feels like a waste to me.
I'm just gonna listen to the Walkman after this to refresh me.
Maybe, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it a lot more. Then we got the debut EP on here. So it's made up of the Public Hanging of a Movie Star, The Cakewalk of Crime, and When Prince Was a Kid.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the Public Hanging of a Movie Star?
I hate it. It's
I wasn't expecting you to hate it. I like it.
That's funny because I was like, this is the most Velvet Underground they've sounded.
All the things that I thought were Velvet Underground were not what you thought, and vice versa.
So yeah, I was just like, but between the two, I think if you're gonna package these together, like maybe like front load it with the earlier stuff.
That's usually how they do it, but I think because if I had to guess, it's because this one was way more popular.
And that one is better. Like
I actually like the debut more.
Really,
I mean, I like 2 out of the 3 songs, so that's significantly better than whatever the fuck. Yeah,
I do like When Prince Was a Kid. It's maybe like one of the few songs in their whole catalog where it's like guitar driven instead of organ driven. It's more upbeat. So yeah. Well,
so go back to the Public Hanging. So I find it to be one of the more interesting songs because it seems like that song was like, oh, this is pretty good. We might be onto something here. And then they proceed to kind of do the same thing, but just in less interesting ways. Like I think the chorus is super fun. He's got like, monkey vocals, which is like, it's not super cool, but at least he's trying shit. But and it has like these cool ringing guitar chords. I like the chorus. I think it's fine. And then When Prince Was a Kid, I'm not gonna pretend I love it, but it is fun. And it's got a cool chorus for sure. The Cakewalk of Crime, however, is exactly what I don't like about them. Just annoying organs ringing in the background, not doing anything else.
Yeah.
A little slow and repetitive with these heavy drums, and not that interesting.
It's
overall
a little deranged, but not much. Like maybe it's like a homeless person where you're like startled to see them, but then you're just like, oh, they're harmless.
Yeah, coming off the heels of Mayhem, I think we're gonna need a little bit more than this to spook us. The bonus tracks now.
Yeah,
we got The City Never Sleeps, which is a cover, although I don't know who.
Yeah,
and then In the Head.
Yeah, City That Never Sleeps. That's just like full blown like baseball organ.
Yeah, it's poppy, boring, and average. I mean, I'm deeply annoyed by that song.
I think In the Head is a great example of like, oh shit, the bass and the drums are onto something. Like it's groovy, it's hypnotic. Like you guys could do something a little different here, but then like the organ and vocals are just so like that is their thing. It always brings them back to that same spot.
That I felt almost the opposite, just more the same. I heard that and I thought like, how many times am I going to listen to this fucking song? Like it feels like I listened to an entire album of it. I genuinely don't care for this style. There are some strong, for the whole compilation, there's some strong moments in a couple decent songs, a handful of decent songs, but otherwise an embryonic version of early 2000 Strokes indie that I never liked. Dancey, happy, fun.
I don't think they're quite there yet.
Well, an embryonic version of it. It's not there yet, but you can't not hear it. You know where it's going.
It sounds more egregious on the next.
The next,
or not even egregious.
I wouldn't say that, but it is. It definitely
that's
goes
the wrong word.
Further.
Yeah.
But my worst and least favorite, I didn't like it. Let's move on.
Well, so this is when they signed
This
a big label.
is where they signed to a big label and it fucked them up. So I guess we should
could
talk about it out
after.
Yeah,
Okay,
because it's more of like a lot of fallout
Okay,
that happened as a
okay.
result. So here it is. There's the last album, 1997's Wolf Songs for Lambs.
Because this is their only proper album. I assumed.
The debut is an album, but it's not. It's just a bad quality.
Yeah, I would assume this would be the most popular, but
Yeah, it had the most budget, but you'd never guess that. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound like it cost $1 million.
like, yeah, that drum beat is really fucking cool.
I love that guitar line. It's like possibly their darkest riff.
Yeah, you could do like this moody song, but they're gonna go upbeat in a few here.
I like this though. I think it sounds fucking great. It's completely unique. I can't think of very many songs that sound like this one.
This song gave me a false sense of.
I was excited. And in this, I like it. It has that style, but it feels like its own thing. It's got the poppiness, the danciness, but that little tinge of the haunted house spooky
Just peppered it.
peppered in. It's fun. I get it.
I saw some faces today. They smiled, yeah, they smiled at me and you. I'm the babe in the maple trees. Nothing in the faces looking real to me.
And yeah, this song comes in at a cool like 2 minutes.
Yep. Gets in, gets out.
I do feel like some of their other songs went on like way too long.
100%. This is a solid riff, solid bass lines. This is like, I think it's a very good song. I think it's one of their best songs actually.
Yeah, so that song gave me like a false sense of what would, ironically, the shape of a thing that never came.
I'm imagining this is your worst or least favorite.
Yeah, worst least favorite. Boy, oh boy,
Yeah.
was I struggling with this one.
Really? I like this one more than the last one, but I was kind of kicked in the balls by it because I thought it was going to be best. Because I like
Yeah.
the first 3 tracks. And
Same.
then after that, it becomes very messy. And
Yeah.
I like and I hate and a mix of the two.
The shape of things that never came.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, I can hear like how they impacted like
Yeah.
that, and This Is My Room on Fire. I don't know if there's any correlation there, but yeah, like you can really hear it there. Although these songs are way more druggy than the Strokes would even dare to do.
It's pretty druggy. Although that's kind of been the case since the beginning.
We set up, the heroin. So.
Oh, yeah. But for the shape of things that never came.
Also,
What?
oh, I'm like, is that an Ornette Coleman reference?
Fuck if I know. You're asking the wrong guy. But
Listeners, do you think that's an Ornette Coleman reference?
maybe.
The shape of jazz to come.
Probably not. These guys don't sound like they were influenced by Ornette Coleman.
I wouldn't say that about Refused either. But
Oh, fair enough.
yeah.
The shape of things that never came. Yeah, I was immediately disappointed by it because I was like, "Fuck, we're back to this average garage shit." But like, there's like a section around a minute 57 that I dig a lot. It's gone immediately, but but on multiple listens, like it's nothing special, but it's inoffensive. It's got one strong riff. Fuck, it's not that bad. This Is My Room has this really fun slidey bass. It has like a very similar vibe to most stuff from the last record. But it's I can't say it's bad. It's not my style, but it's got like hints of psychedelia in there. I like it, but it still manages to drag on for me. And then things start getting iffy.
Yeah, they do.
No Love Like That is bland garage rock that just it just sucks the soul out of me. I fucking can't stand it.
It's, for me, all downhill from there.
Okay, I don't think that, but I do think a lot of it is bad.
Like,
Go ahead.
I wasn't as offended by tracks 2 and 3 like the way you were. I was still on board. Like, this
I still
is
like
fine.
them. I still like the songs. I wasn't that offended by them.
And then by the end of I've Changed Hotels, I was like, unless like like, man, they better improve the songwriting quality on the back half of this album, because I'm fucking bored to tears. Like Hotels has some like 60s pop sensibilities about it. You could even say it's like kind of like a distorted R&B song, but I'm making it sound way cooler than it is.
Those 3 songs in a row, No Love Like That, Bipolar Summer, and I've Changed Hotels, those 3 songs in a row were breaking me. I couldn't believe that it felt like I was listening to the same song 3 times in a row. It was amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
there's so little variety in the writing. It fucking drove me crazy. But everybody plays the mime. I actually like it.
Man, I was just like, man, that is like, yeah, that's a great example of a song that like, where I'm like, oh, this starts off cool. And then
lets it down.
Oh man. Yeah. I thought they were just going to have like a whole different energy to them. The way Curtain Calls for You like started off. I thought as well, it doesn't even come close to that song. No, but I will disagree and give it up for Everybody Plays the Mime, These Little Monkeys, and A Night in the Nursery. I like all 3 of those songs. Man, yeah. Night in the Nursery, I'm just like, it's more paint drying for me. I will say at least like These Little Monkeys and Station Coffee have like some levity and
they have energy. They're more upbeat. Yeah.
They're not really like unique.
No, not at all. So I'm fucking bored to tears with their upbeat, happy riffs. I'm fucking gonna blow my brains out if I hear another fucking happy riff from these guys. So with songs like Everybody Plays the Mime and A Night in the Nursery, they're one of the 3 total dark songs on the album. So I'm fucking all ears. I'm excited to hear something dark. Everybody Plays the Mime is definitely meaner. It's more sinister. I like all the riffs throughout. It's got a similar psychedelic feel, but better written, I think. And then Night in the Nursery, it's dark, but with a nice, catchy, uplifting chorus. I think also that song is the closest these guys have ever gotten to like an epic of sorts. It's only like 4 minutes, not really an epic, and it doesn't go huge, but at least the closest thing to it. These Little Monkeys, the same reason you're sort of okay with it. It's the same with me. It's the same upbeat, garagey energy, but I dig the riffs more. Can't stand Station Coffee, and I really do not like the closer, Impatient Talent Show.
I like the guitar tone and the guitar effects on it. That's about it. That one also reminded me of Velvet Underground, very bohemian sounding, messy, but like still happy. Which whenever I think of messy and happy, I just think of Velvet Underground, and I fucking never liked it. I tried to like it, but it's just not. It wasn't meant for me. By God, it was not meant for me. And I like Velvet Underground. I like early 2000s garage rock.
And you still don't like this.
I still don't.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating to me because
like in some ways it's like arguably for me.
That's amazing because this whole discography while listening, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is fine, but I hate the things that they're inspired by, minus Nick Cave and Iggy Pop, of course. But like the things that it's reminding me of, like I'm just not a fan of that. It's my problem. Clearly it's my fault. But you're saying no, it's their fault.
Yeah, it kind of is. I think they're this, is this a circumstance of being young and like a wild lead singer who needed help and couldn't get it? And
yeah, we're saying as though he died. He did, but not when you think he did.
No, not when you think he did. And yeah, I'm gonna say it again so people don't think I'm just a salty. Like, they went on to form the Walkmen, which is fucking cool.
That is cool. I haven't heard them, but I will take your word for it. Although I probably won't like them, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if you would, but like, I'll tell you right off the bat, the playing is like fucking night and day.
I imagine. I figured it out.
You wouldn't even guess that band featured 3 guys from this band.
3 guys, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
So regarding the background of this album, there's a lot here. Tom notes, it's the strangest thing, but producer Jim Waters also worked with, yes, you guessed it, John Spencer Blues Explosion. It's a lot of overlap.
I should probably listen to them so I have a point of reference.
I heard one song and I heard the similarities. It wasn't enough for me to make a judgment call on it though.
I think they had a song in Baby Driver.
Oh, that was a hell of a movie.
but you can't talk about that movie because Spacey's in it. But I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. That was a great movie.
Edgar Wright is amazing.
Although, I mean, the line is like it was memed after his whole thing where he says, "I was blinded by the balls in that kid."
Oh yeah,
Boy, was he?
Yeah. The song "Bell Bottoms."
Yeah, that's the song I heard. Yeah, that's one of the, I think it's their most famous song. It's a good song. It's a good song.
It is.
But so this is a little bit of the backstory of this album and what happened, because this was released on DreamWorks. I didn't even know they had a fucking record label.
I always think of
Shrek. Sorry.
No, Zach and Mary. I think it's like Craig Robinson. He's like, I wanted to open up a gay nightclub called DreamWorks, but it turns out that's already like a movie studio.
Fucking stupid. Forgot. I haven't seen the movie in a while.
It's a stupid movie, but it makes me chuckle.
So this piece on them, it says, right now the record companies are sort of circling like vultures, said Stewart in 1996, soon after the release of Temple Under Boomlights. The 3-album, $1 million deal they eventually signed with DreamWorks was an unusual one. They were to keep full creative control, and most brilliantly, their near toothless manager was to get a full new set of Nashers. That's a real thing. That's not like a colorful way to say they have money now.
Yeah.
Like they literally got their toothless manager new teeth.
Holy
with the money. The press enjoyed that far more than the fact they refused to make a video for their debut major label single and were reluctant to do interviews with magazines they thought were lame. Again, very unlikable, but it is funny. It
is funny, but also you guys aren't that cool.
That's why it bothers me, because I feel like they think they're cool.
Yeah.
That's why because otherwise that's fun. It says they were accused of arrogance and self-obsession by journalists who gleefully sharpened their knives to review what would end up becoming their first and only album for DreamWorks. Loudest buzz, but little real life bang, the Los Angeles Times wrote in December 1987.
I mean, they're right, but yeah, it's funny how they were like these media darlings, and then this because they wouldn't do
Well, they're pretentious dicks about it.
Yeah.
They were like,
I feel like if you had good music, though, they wouldn't like, yeah. You
know what I think it is? And yeah, maybe I'm full of shit and don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like it's just if you're being real or not.
Yeah.
No one was shitting on Nirvana. Kurt was just as off-put by interviewers and was just as awkward and weird and avoided interviews, but you believed him and you liked him.
I thought of Maynard from Tool. Like,
yep,
that guy is a fucking dick.
I think he's great.
The more I learn about him, the more I dislike him.
It's the opposite for me. The more I like him.
But Tool's music is fucking great. So
I'm gonna be controversial. I like him more than Tool.
God damn it.
But it's like,
anyways,
the thing is with things like that, like, sure, there's gonna be plenty of people, vultures or whatever, trying to pounce on someone that they don't like and shit on them unjustly. But a lot of these personalities, people like these fucking these personalities that put themselves above the people that really believe in themselves. Like, look at it like a Pete Davidson. Maybe he's humble about it, but he is like a character celebrity where it's like, this person is weird. They're not normal. They're unusual. They don't do things the way we would like them to be done, but we like them anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't work with these guys because I don't think they believed it. I don't believe it.
I think also, if you're going to like call your shot, you gotta back it up. And I don't think it was backed up again.
Musically, I don't think it was backed up at all.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if the album was like this thing people couldn't deny, or even had some like hooks, or was catchy, like, yeah.
Yeah, they were still hugely influential. So we're not completely correct on anything. Not that we ever are, but it worked. It definitely worked for some people, but there's something really like kind of phony about them that pisses me off. But even, I don't know, I'm being an asshole now.
It's so funny because I was like, I kind of want to read Meet Me in the Bathroom now, but I'm like, I haven't even read like Get in the Van yet. So
there's a lot of great books. I can't believe did they repress Get in the Van? Because when I was trying to buy it, it'd been long out of print.
I don't know.
I'll find a fucking digital copy, whatever. But So Stewart says this about this whole period in this deal. He says that I got so fucking manipulated by the press. It was for a 3-album deal that we didn't complete. And do you know how much we had to give to the lawyer and to the agent? And we got our manager's whole mouth reconstructed because he had no teeth. Told you. $800 a month. That was what I got paid. Less than the minimum wage. And we got $10,000 each up front. That was fun, but it was gone very quickly. The whole thing with that deal was totally blown out of proportion. And please don't think I'm bitter. I'm not. It's just that sometimes the bare facts are depressing. He certainly hasn't been completely out of it these past years, as of 2007, of course, when this was written. He enrolled at George Washington University to indulge in his lifelong passion for poetry, and he learned to play guitar. But perhaps this message on the Walkman's website forum says it best. It says, I went to college with Stewart Lupton in New York and lived down the hall from him. He used to sit in the laundry room at 4 a.m. typing on this ancient typewriter. He was a real presence no matter what he was wearing or doing. I figured he'd probably become fantastically famous and drop dead of a heroin overdose before 30. Fortunately, the latter never happened. Sadly, neither did the former.
Jesus.
But
Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, this album was a complete failure across the board. I don't think it's the worst album ever, although it is Alex's worst and least favorite. But it definitely killed the band and paved the way for the Walkman.
Yeah, I think it's more of a Stewart issue.
It sounds like it was across the board.
Yeah, when reflecting on it, like I think this was in 2020. Martin, he's like, it's heartbreaking to watch Stu change, and it's still a mystery to me of what part of that was about addiction and what part was schizophrenia.
Oh, see, it says nothing about schizophrenia.
Yeah, I mean, this is straight from like Walter's.
Yeah, but it's didn't hear that.
That's why I'm like on top of Tom's notes, because I was like, I need a little something, and I found like it's not even a long thing. It's just like some quick blurbs from modern day Walter Martin. Yeah,
because there doesn't seem to be any like wild stories about him like acting out. It's mostly just like, oh, he was just on too much heroin. Seems like. From 2007, it says Stewart, whose on-and-off battle with heroin was cited as a primary reason for Jonathan FireEater's collapse, performed for a while as Stuart Stevenson with his friend Judah Bauer from the John Spencer Blues Explosion, shocker, and then totally fell off the radar. Tom notes here, more recently, says a semi-comeback followed with a new band called the Child Ballads, who released a mini album in 2007, followed by a couple releases as part of the Beatings. And he died on May 27th, 2018 at 43, and cause of death unreported. But I imagine it's something involving something sad. He's 43.
Yeah, we we don't need to know the details. We get it.
Yeah, a lot of those, like I think Rocky Erickson was another one who died, and they didn't disclose how he died. But it's like, does it matter? Does it really matter? He's dead either way. Who cares? It's sad or whatever. But check out episode in the 13th Floor Elevators. I forgot we did them forever ago. We've never referenced Rocky Erickson until now.
We really should, though.
He's a fascinating character.
Yeah.
Very fascinating. But thank you so much for listening and watching, and thank you. And also, I'm sorry, Derek, for shitting on this band, but thank you for suggesting them and for supporting us. I hope you're still going to hang out with us. Oh God. Let's do a little recap.
Jonathan FireEater EP with the Silver Surfer on it. Best.
That's an album. It's considered an album.
Okay, album, whatever. Best personal favorite, and then worst least favorite. Wolf Songs for Lambs.
And for me, same deal. The self-titled debut album. Best personal favorite. It's just the most interesting, most character, most diversity. Still don't love it, but it's still, I think it's the best. And worst least favorite, Tremble Under Boom Lights. If it was just the EP by itself, I'd probably still give it worst, honestly. But never mind. But the compilation also worst, at least favorite. I just don't like these. I don't like the style. I don't like what they're doing. Sorry. So thank you so much for listening and watching. If you hate us, I understand. Talk some shit in the comments. Go ahead. Leave a thumbs up though. And subscribe if you want to hang out with us further. We cover a lot of bands that we like that you might also like. Just take a look at the fucking catalog. There's a lot of diversity there. Follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
every album Alex.
Please follow our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music. He does a lot of dirt digging. He gets us albums, review copies of albums. He's a fun guy. And let us not forget, patreon.com/every album ever. That is where you go if you want to be like Derek and suggest episodes, artists, discographies, whatever. You get some bonus episodes on there. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join our Discord, be part of our very fun and active community, as well as suggest episodes for our EAE singles series, newer albums that came out this year, and we'll cover them on our shorter episodes. And if you're tier 2, you could suggest a full discography for us to cover on our bigger, longer numbered episodes, as well as any individual album for Patreon bonus episodes. So if there's a big old discography that we're probably not going to cover, then suggest an individual album. We'll do it on a bonus episode. And so, yeah, it's fun stuff. Go there, do that, please, and thank you. Check out my debut EP if you don't hate me. It's also cool, whatever. Links to that in the description. And yeah, I guess let's wrap it with, I think, a very easy choice for us.
Well, I didn't want to go back to YouTube, but I think we should display the Oven the Gas.
100%.
Yeah.
Oven the Gas the Dreams.
Because we might get an ad right now, so if you can.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Look at that, an ad. Look at that.
Of course there is. Yeah, we're good now.
Okay, so thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.